Hey, what's going on everyone? Stephen here for Hey Techie back again. Today's video is going to be looking at smart bulbs. As I get deeper into the smart home experience, I wanted to make a video explaining some of the many benefits of having this smart home technology in your home. There's really no way around it. Smart bulbs are incredible. The ability to control your lighting of your home and turn it on and off using your smartphone or voice assistant of choice is the stuff of futuristic dreams. Yet, it's already a reality for thousands of people and it's part of their everyday lives. For HomeKit users, the range of choice in smart bulbs is growing constantly every month, with more and more different types of smart bulbs coming onto the market. They're extremely simple to use, no wiring is required, just insert a smart bulb into a socket, connect it with HomeKit using the QR code, and away you go. For people like me who rent and who can't install smart switches, smart bulbs are usually the go-to lighting device. In fact, if you've got any sort of smart home setup, chances are you probably started with a smart bulb. But a lot of people, myself included, are still put off by the high price tag associated with some products on the market. So today's video aims to do two things. I ask, are smart bulbs worth the money? And just how good are smart bulbs for your wallet compared to traditional lighting solutions? So let's get into this. In this video, I'm going to look at a few different smart bulbs and compare them with a regular incandescent light bulb that you can buy very cheaply today. All of the bulbs featured in this video are made by different manufacturers and come in at different price points, but fundamentally they can all do very similar things. And of course, because this is a Hey Techie video, all of them are compatible with Apple HomeKit. The links are down in the description below if you're interested in picking one or more than one of them up. Right then, before we get into the smart bulbs, it's important to know what we're benchmarking them against. In this case, I'm going to go for the cheapest kind of light bulb you can buy here in the UK on Amazon. It's a traditional incandescent light bulb which you can pick up really very cheaply. In this case here, each bulb on Amazon costs a total of 77p, but you do have to buy them in a bigger pack. For your money, you'll be getting a bulb that takes 60 watts per hour to run, giving out a total of 700 lumens. This is the kind of light bulb which has dominated the market for decades, as the type of light emitted is the most pleasing to the eye, whilst being extremely easy to produce. And of course, this goes without saying, but it is as basic as you can get. This bulb just turns on and off, there's absolutely nothing else you can do with it, it's just a very simple light bulb. With that benchmark set, let's take a look at the smart bulbs here. Now all of today's bulbs were purchased by me to review for this video, so I've got no affiliation with any of these manufacturers. Hey Techie though always pledges to give you, our viewers, our completely honest and unbiased opinion on all products we feature here on the channel, so you can make the most informed purchasing decision. First off, we've got the Meross MSL120 smart bulb. Now this is the cheapest of the smart bulbs we feature today in this video, coming in at £11.50 per bulb when you buy a 2-pack, and that price can fall a little bit lower if you buy in bulk. It has a brightness of 110 lumens, making it ever so slightly brighter than our 60-watt traditional bulb. In comparison though, this Meross bulb only uses 9 watts of power per hour when at full brightness, which is fairly typical for these LED bulbs as you'll see here. That means though on a base level that this smart bulb emits the same amount of light as our traditional incandescent bulb, but using 85% less power to do so. Now the Meross bulbs can change colour across the spectrum, offering you up to 16 million different colours, and naturally the brightness and the amount of electricity being used varies when you change the brightness or the colour of the bulb. For the purposes of this video though, I'm going to stick with that figure as it's the maximum output possible and it helps keep things simple. Just be advised though that the actual electric usage from this bulb may vary depending on what colour and brightness of the light you're using. There's no gateway hub required for this bulb, all you need to do is plug it in and connect it to HomeKit and you've got control of it via your iPhone, iPad, Mac or Siri enabled device. Some really simple stuff. The second bulb we're featuring today is the Nanoleaf Essentials Smart Bulb. Now, I've already done a review video on this bulb and you may want to watch that here, but if you haven't seen that before, you'll know that this is one of my favourite smart bulbs on the market today. Not only does it look superb, it's one of the brightest smart bulbs on the market, being able to put out a maximum of 1100 lumens, although Nanoleaf do say that the average of all of its colour settings is 806 lumen. Like the Meross, the Nanoleaf bulb also uses 9 watts of power at maximum brightness. The price of one of these is $17.99 if you buy directly from Nanoleaf themselves, but you can pick up one slightly cheaper on Amazon from time to time. This bulb is also unique for this video as in that it also has Thread on board, which for smart home fans is a massive bonus because Thread looks set to be the future of smart home tech. I've done a video on Thread and why it's so important, so if you're confused about that, make sure you check it out up here too. And of course, as with all of the smart bulbs in this video, you'll be able to control this bulb via your Apple devices and via Siri. The third bulb is the Lifx Mini Color, which is the most expensive of the smart bulbs featured today. It typically retails at £44.99, but you can pick it up on offer from time to time with a significant discount. The price point is high, but Lifx market this as the greenest and most environmentally friendly smart bulb, claiming that the Choice Consumer Group found that their Mini to be 20% more efficient than the other leading competitors on the market. Their website also says that this bulb can somehow outperform the specs on the box, but I'm not really sure how that works. Perhaps this is referring to the fact that different colours and brightnesses use electricity, but who knows, I'm not entirely sure. The Lifx Mini can reach a maximum lumen of 800, so again this bulb puts out roughly the same amount of light as our 60 watt traditional incandescent bulb, and again it only uses 9 watts of power at maximum brightness. And last, but certainly not least, is the IKEA Home Smart Bulb. Unlike others in this video, you will need a gateway hub in order to make this bulb work with Apple HomeKit though. Now of course, this does raise both the price and the amount of electricity being used, and of course that's going to reflect in the prices and ultimately the cost. Just bear in mind though that you can sync up to 50 TradFi devices to one gateway hub, so perhaps our statistical analysis here is a little bit unfair to judge it just for one bulb. The benefit of the hub though is that all of the IKEA bulbs will communicate using Zigbee rather than over Wi-Fi. Zigbee devices create their own little mesh network to talk to one another, and this ultimately removes strain on your Wi-Fi network. If you have a poor internet connection at home, but you still want the benefit of a smart home, then a Zigbee based system might be the one for you right now. IKEA do have a diverse range of smart bulbs and they are all compatible with Zigbee. For this video though, I'm only going to be discussing this one, the 11 watt bulb, which puts out a maximum of 1000 lumen, so is nearer to a traditional 72 watt bulb. It should be noted though that the IKEA bulb here is the only bulb today that is white light only, and so it can't give you a spectrum of colour. The last fact we've got to consider here then is the lifespan of these bulbs. Of course, the smart bulbs are more expensive, but they last significantly longer. I've got to be honest, I think 3 hours a day seems a little bit low to me, especially if it's going to be lighting a living room or a bedroom, but this seems to be the base industry standard measurement, so I'm going to stick with it. In comparison though, our traditional light bulb only lasts for around 1000 hours of use, working out to be about 1 year if the bulb is used for just 3 hours a day. And of course, the reality is that many of these really cheap light bulbs break a lot sooner than that, but controlling the maths for that kind of situation is really difficult, so I'm just going to have to take that 1000 hours as guaranteed. Okay then, so how does this all compare when it comes to working out how much these bulbs cost to run? Well, first, let's look at the amount of power that each bulb uses when left on for a single hour and work out how much that costs. Now the average cost for a single unit of electricity, a kilowatt hour, here in the UK in 2020 was 17p. There are 1000 watts to a kilowatt, so let's apply that to our bulbs. Assuming that the Meross, Nanoleaf and Lifx bulbs ran for an hour on maximum brightness, they'd use up 9 watts of power, which means that would cost us 0.15p. So that's less than 2/10 of a penny per hour. The IKEA bulb just by itself would use up 0.19p in an hour, but we have to factor in the gateway too, and that uses an extra watt of power, bringing the total price up to 0.21p. Still, for an hour of use, we're talking fractions of a single penny. For our incandescent bulb that uses 60 watts of power over an hour, it would cost us over a penny, 1.02 pence per hour to have on, which is much more expensive. And of course remember that in most homes you're going to have more than one light bulb on at a time, so all of these costs are multiplied for each bulb you've got. So that's the costs for an hour, but why don't we scale things up to 1000 hours of use, which if you'll remember is about 1 year. The Nanoleaf, Meross and Lifx bulbs will cost you about £1.50 to operate, which is pretty cheap. The IKEA setup will cost you a little more, costing £2.10 a year, but you do get a more powerful bulb, and that's including the gateway hub's electric use factored in as well. In comparison though, the incandescent bulb costs a whopping £10.20 per year to have on, and that's just for one single light bulb over the course of a year. So let's take it another step further then. What does the maths look like when we factor in for the full life of our LED smart bulbs? Now, over the course of the 25,000 hours, which gives us that 22.8 year figure, the Meross, Nanoleaf and Lifx bulbs will cost you a grand total of £37.50 to be lit up. The IKEA bulb and gateway costs a combined total of £52.20 to run, but it is that more powerful bulb. But all of those figures are dwarfed by the amount it would take to power the traditional bulb, clocking in at an enormous £255 in electricity costs alone. In addition to that figure, you'll also have to replace the cheap bulb 24 times, assuming those absolutely perfect conditions, which adds on another £18.48. For the price of replacing all of those bulbs, you could buy one of the Nanoleaf's Essential bulbs, or the best part of 2 of those Meross bulbs instead. In total though, it would cost you £273.48 to power and maintain a system using just those incandescent light bulbs. Now whilst these figures are really impressive, we're not quite done yet though. One of the less well known aspects of smart bulbs is that, much like your TV when it's left on standby, they're still drawing a small amount of residual power. This vampire usage, as it's known, is quite small, and it's ultimately the bulb making sure that it can connect to the Wi-Fi so that when you ask your smart assistant to turn it on, it can do so. This does mean though that in straight terms, smart lighting is less efficient than regular LED lighting. In our lineup here, each of the smart bulbs use a small amount of energy in that vampire mode. Nanoleaf is the only company that is extremely specific with how much power is being used up, and there's also 2 different figures that could cause a little bit of confusion. Because the United States and the UK use different levels of voltage to one another for most household appliances, Nanoleaf has very usefully stated a number for each case. As you can see here in the US, the 120 volt system uses a little bit less residual power at 0.17 watts per hour in standby, whereas here in the UK it will use up 0.26 watts per hour. It's a very small difference, but it is one that will add up to a price difference over the years. For this video though, I'm going to go with the UK figure, not just because it's where I'm based, but because it's the higher figure of the two. Just be aware that when we look at the maths at the end, if you are located in the United States or somewhere else that uses 120 volts, your price might be a little bit cheaper. All of the other smart bulbs in this study though state that they use less than 0.5 watts, which is a lot less specific. Now, I have to imagine that the figure must be pretty close to 0.5 watts, otherwise they would have given the figure like Nanoleaf, so I've got to take that 0.5 watt figure as gospel for these calculations. Assuming that all of our smart bulbs are used for 3 hours per day, it means they'll be on standby mode for 21 hours. The Lifx, Meross and IKEA bulbs all use 0.5 watts per hour of vampire power, costing 0.18p per day, so almost 1/5 of a penny in power. Naturally though, the Nanoleaf bulb leads the way here, using 0.26 watts, and that will cost us 0.09p per day. If we accept that 1000 hours of the bulb being on equates to 1 year, over the course of that time frame, it means that they'll be on standby for 7000 hours. In that case, the Nanoleaf bulb costs an additional 35p a year to run due to vampire costs, and the other three require an additional 70p to run per year. Now, this is a very small sum of money, but scaling this up to a full 25,000 hours of use, you'll be spending an additional £8.75 on the Nanoleaf and £17.50 on the Lifx, Meross and IKEA bulbs due to vampire power alone. So, factoring everything up, it's going to look a little something like this. The Meross bulb costs £11.50 to buy, and factoring in power to run and vampire usage, it will cost you £6.30 a year. That's a total of £17.80 in total costs over the first year, and that drops to just £6.30 per year for the next 24 years. In total then, the Meross bulb will cost you £169 over that 22.8 year period. Now the Nanoleaf bulb is a little more expensive, initially costing you £17.99 to buy, but it is a little more economical, costing £5.40 a year to run. In the first year, it's going to cost you £23.39 to get set up, and then it will cost you £5.40 in electric costs thereafter for the next 24 years. That means in total, the Nanoleaf bulb will cost you £152.99. The Lifx bulb will set you back a hefty £44.99 to buy originally, and then £6.30 every year thereafter in annual electric costs. That means in the first year it's going to cost you £51.29, and then £6.30 every year after that for the next 24 years. In total, the Lifx setup will cost you £202.49. And finally, the IKEA bulb will cost you £15 to start with, and the gateway will cost you another £22 when bought separately, and then it will cost £8.10 per year in electrical costs to run both. That means in the first year, you'll be paying £45.10 for your lighting, and then £8.10 for the remainder of the bulb's 24 years of life. That means in total, the IKEA setup is the most expensive smart home solution in this video, costing you £239.50. But remember, it is the brighter bulb, and you've got the gateway that could work for other smart devices too, so that extra electric usage won't stack. How does that compare to our traditional bulb though? Well, each of our incandescent light bulbs cost a mere 77p, but they cost £10.20 a year to power. That means you'll be paying £10.97 in the first year, which is cheaper than any of our smart bulbs here in this test in the first year. But very quickly though, factoring in all of the electric and the 24 bulb replacements you'll also need to provide, the incandescent bulb will be a lot more expensive, costing you in total £273.48. That means for every single smart bulb featured in this video, you will make a saving based on electricity usage alone. The IKEA setup will save you almost £34 over that period, whereas the Meross bulb offers the greatest saving you a stunning £104.48. And remember, that's per bulb in your home. I did a bit of reading online, and apparently in the United States, the average home has 45 light bulbs. If you multiply that up, that would mean using the Meross smart bulbs in your home along with all of the great smart home features and colour options that it gives you, will save you a colossal £4,700. And this only factors in lighting costs in perfect conditions. Since upgrading to a smart home, I've been using schedules and various different sensors to ensure that I'm not accidentally leaving lights on for longer than I mean to. Not to mention that using different colours of light will also change the amount of power that the bulb is using up as well. Unless you have a dimmer switch and a special dimmer bulb, there is no way to dim down a traditional light bulb either, whereas I know that I dim my smart lights every single day, before bed and during movies, etc. That means that the figures that I've calculated for our smart bulbs here are the absolute worst case scenario, and that the savings are probably a little larger than these figures indicate depending on your own personal usage. And that's all before we even consider the other benefits to changing to smart LED bulbs. Incandescent bulbs are extremely inefficient and also produce a significant amount of heat as an unwanted byproduct. In hot weather, using those bulbs mean you'll be using cooling solutions like fans and air conditioning, which means even more electricity on top of the extra you're already paying to power that bulb. So has this video convinced you that there is enough savings to be made by switching to a smart home? Or is there something more that we should be considering? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching. It's a huge compliment if you've made it to the end of such a long video. If you've not already done so, please make sure to smash that like button and leave me a comment letting me know that you've enjoyed this video. In the meantime though, don't forget to check our Facebook and Instagram pages at Hey Techie, where you can see a lot more content during the week that you won't see here on YouTube. And if you've not done it yet, you can still enter our giveaway to win a brand new HomePod Mini. A link explaining how to enter that is in the description below. Until next time then, I've been Stephen for Hey Techie.